night.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to horrornightoasis, a radio show where we discuss all the latest movies and news from the world of horror. Joining me tonight, as always, is my co-host Ian. Ian, are you there?
Barely, but I'm hoping that I can make it through.
Yeah, it's we've been a little out and about here recently with the shows, but a lot of things have been happening. You know, personal lives get in the way, but we're here, and boy, howdy, I don't think we should have come back. We should have took the night off. No, but I digress. Man, the films we watch. Ian, I know you're not feeling up to it that well. I know you're kind of feeling sick, and it's just one of those nights, and I don't think the film deserves that much praise or lengthy discussion like some of the other films we've discussed in the public domain set. So let's just get this one out of the way. It's Goldilocks. Exactly. Goldilocks and the Three Bears, Death and Porridge. It's, of course, it's a play off Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and it is the latest, I don't even know, I mean, nursery rhyme, fairy tale, public domain film. The last one was sort of, when we did our Savage Nursery, with Three Blind Mice and Mary Had a Little Lamb. It's sort of a continuation on that, but with Goldilocks and the Three Bears. And oh goodness gracious, Ian, I can't really sugarcoat this because there's nothing to sugarcoat. This is just not good.
No.
This was just not good at all, but I'll try to get into the plot as it's not convoluted. It's just not well put together. There's like moments. We'll get into it. So we have a group of friends that are just going to this B&B, I guess. They rented this cabin or this house, and they're all going there. They're supposed to meet up with another friend called Simon, and we have a couple characters. We have Nicole, Kelly, George, Simon is mentioned. I think Jazz is the other one, even though I'm not for sure. But he's the other friend, and they go there, and they go to this B&B, and they get there, and they find out after calling the hosts of the B&B that they got sent the wrong address, and so instead of going back to where their B&B was going to be at, they opt to stay the night and leave in the morning, even though they're technically breaking and entering just in a house that they don't know who lives there. Very, again, akin to the story of Three Bears, Goldilocks and Three Bears, but it's just a group of friends breaking into a house and eating and sleeping in their beds and bowls. The thing is, there's no plot or really story to this film. Um, they just go there and they talk. They bring up the same conversations over and over until honestly the end of the film. It's the exact same dialogue that they just parlay back and forth. Uh, George, all he wants to know is about Wi-Fi. Why isn't there Wi-Fi? Where's the Wi-Fi? How come the Wi-Fi is not there? I wish I had Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi would be nice. And he's just constant with the Wi-Fi. And then we have a couple other characters, like they're just they're not bickering. They're just a lot of the scenes just felt wooden, and also a lot of the film is ADR'd, and that really throws a wrench into the film.
Yeah.
There's like perfectly, scenes that happen, and then like they're having straight dialogue straight from the source, and it's like in camera, and then they just like a person walks in, and then it just straight ADR, like another 2-minute conversation happens with ADR. Like, what happened? Did they lose it? Did they have the ADR or something? What, was there something in the background? Something bad that they had ADR? Who knows? I mean, it's obviously, I don't know if it's problems on the set. It felt like there was a lot of issues on set. Just because there's like something that happens, which we'll get into, pertaining to a certain character but like later on in the film, there's a lot of ADR, especially when Goldilocks comes into play and she has her mask, and she's literally talking like she has something over her face like this, and you can't hear it. Like right against the microphone that she's doing the ADR in. But anyway, they're just staying at this house overnight, and then like they get like George is like freaking out constantly, and then plus it's like Nicole's birthday, because that's the whole reason for the trip, and like they're just again hanging out, wondering like, man, this house is weird. Why is there only 4 plates and 4 bowls and everything? Like, why is there bears all over the place? Why is there this? It's just like constant, just like meandering and just like delving on things that just like, I mean, it's pretty obvious, like, oh, this is a weird house. I'm gonna go to your house, Ian, and just complain about everything. Like, why is the floor blue? Why is this that? Just like contrarian, and it's just stupid conversations, honestly, and just like no point for anything. There's like no purpose except for them staying there. And like, yeah, I get it. It's a stupid slasher movie, but there needed to be some semblance of a reasoning or an urgency for everything. They're just there.
Yeah.
They just nothing happens. And then like, oh crap, there's people in bear masks, and they're oh my god, and then like nothing for another portion of the film, and then characters disappear, and then like they don't show up again, and then like what happened to that character, and like, oh, maybe there's something behind the scenes where she quit. Who knows? But like the slasher aspect, like of Goldilocks, like she's dancing and twirling and doing like pirouettes, and like, I mean that aspect I kind of was into, because it was like they're kind of insane a little bit, where it's just like they're all dancing and just like unique movements, like the baby bear, she's a girl, and she's just like, and she has like grenades all over her because apparently she's a grenade smith, and she's just like constantly dancing and jumping up and down and sort of, and then like Papa Bear has an axe and he's doing his thing, Mama Bear's cooking, and it's just like it's just there,
Yeah.
And there's like no reasoning behind it. It's like, oh, you went into their house, you shouldn't go into people's houses you don't know, is the main takeaway. But like, yeah, the characters just suck. The dialogue is just meandering and just uninspired. There's no progression of story, honestly. The characters, there's like a good 10-15 minutes of George just looking around for no reason, and like,
Looking for that Wi-Fi.
yeah, they go look for that Wi-Fi, and like, then like they're like taking drugs, or he has some kind of medication, drug pill bottle, and he takes those and he starts sort of hallucinating, and then later on, like when one of the characters disappears, what is it, Steve? Simon, sorry, I don't care. Simon like blacks out because he has to have like some kind of medication that he doesn't have, and like there's like a part where like he's in the bed and like you don't see him for a while, and then I'll get into that point in a minute. I'm really just going off the deep end, but it really you have to with this one because there's nothing there to go on. Again, I didn't care for it, especially after coming off of Piglet. It just like really felt uninspired, but at least like Piglet had like some storyline efforts involved, and some of the kills were okay. The kills in this one, I mean the eyeball scene was cool. I mean it was fine, even though I don't know who the character was that died. I guess it's just a teenager in the woods that they found, or one of the surrounding houses in the woods. I have no idea. But she's there, and you're supposed to care that she gets killed. Like I guess, like they're not freaking out all that often. Like, oh my god, they're doing something. I better get dressed first before we go out anywhere.
Yeah.
It's just like it's ridiculous. And don't get me started on the fucking telephone.
Oh god.
But Ian, your thoughts, and then we'll go back and forth.
This movie was not just right. It wasn't too hot and it wasn't too cold, but it definitely wasn't just right.
No, it was rotted and it was smelly.
Yeah. Like they're like, "Oh, who made this porridge? I'm going to keep eating this thing, but it does taste off. Huh. I'll just keep eating it anyway. Oh, I'm going to be poisoned and then miraculously recover just to get shot in the head." And I'm like, "Oh my god. This movie was all over the place." Like, I mean, yeah, okay. I get it. They were stranded. They went to the wrong place. They got stranded. They were like, "Oh, it's too far to drive back." So instead of like actually like trying to find a hotel or something, let's just break and entering. I'm sure they won't care.
Yeah.
I was like, they were trying their hardest to like,
Make this fit with the story.
yeah, like they were trying they tried too hard to make this story work within like the parallels of the actual story. But nothing happens through like
No.
90% of this film. And I was like, it looked like something was going to happen. It doesn't. And then like, and everything that does happen was like, CGI. Then
Yeah,
they
those
like
blades.
dubbed over it.
Yeah.
The audio was just, you can tell like their mouth wasn't even moving in the right direction of what they were saying. And it was just like, I just kept being like, the more I'm watching this, the more I'm seeing this wrong.
Exactly.
I was like, this movie is so boring that there's no like you said, there's no sense of urgency in this film. Like, oh, just gotta go. It's like, no, they're just like, we could try to find out where we were supposed to go, but no.
That
And then
Wi-Fi is
like
more
the
important.
weird, yeah, and then like the weird drug thing was just out of nowhere, and it served no purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that they were crazy. I liked Goldilocks was spinning around and had a little ballerina. Like they seemed like they had okay personalities, but other than that, it's like, they lived in this area for a long time, and they have guns and swords and axes and
Grenades.
grenades, and it's like, you would think that they would be like kind of some like known in these parts, like somebody would have seen them. Oh, they run to the first house, get saved, and then they just get captured again. And I was like, okay. It's like, this movie is boring. I was like, there's no good flow to it. The
No.
camera was all over the place too. Like, if you watch in some scenes, you can actually see like it shifting left and right, like wobbling.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then they were just like taking random shots of fucking wood and like just the most random shots. And I was like, I was sitting there trying to like analyze those shots. I was like, what could be the significance of this? Like, I get it that they're hinting that, the dad chops wood. We see it in the picture. Like, he is holding an axe. But, like, they didn't even show the axe. And I was just like, okay, so nothing is of importance. It's just random shots to, like, for no reason. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned the camera. There's like I noticed one good shot in the whole entire movie, and that's with George when he's coming down, and I think with uh, Nicole or Carrie is Kelly, and she's coming down, and they're both in the kitchen, and then the camera pans and it goes around the sliding doors, and it's like panned outside now because I thought that was like the only good tracking shot they had in the film. Everything else was all over the place and just
Yeah,
jumbled.
no. Yeah, I
Um,
even messaged you. I was like, man, this camera guy is all over the
yeah,
place.
yeah, he definitely snorted something before the director said and go. Um, but yeah, there needed to be something. I mean, I know they're trying to go with the story of the fairy tale, but I was sitting there thinking, me, I always like to think what else this could have been, and for some reason, Three Blind Mice came to mind, whereas Goldilocks comes across the three bears, as in like the three blind mice were in like a experimented on, how they were, and like she's the the caregiver of the three bears and takes care of them, but she's also crazy, so she turns them into you know sort of that, even though genetically modified people creatures have been like sort of the staple here as of late recently, but it would kind of
Yeah.
worked in this favor. You still have the porridge where it's like feed them slop, right? One likes it a certain way. Each one has their differences of how they like their porridge, and then of course you have Goldilocks as the ringleader. And I mean, but it makes sense as it compared to something that Three Blind Mice and how terrible that shitty that one was. At least I was trying to like some kind of semblance to make it work. And like I would like to see it that way, even though it again rinse and repeat. But
Yeah.
it would have made sense of like what they are, even though they're just people in masks. Then you have like I was thinking of like all the other films like the ilk like Tormented with the people in the pig masks, which is also Berkshire County, I believe is the AKA for that film. Um, Torment, there's a period there was like a lot of people in masked home invasion movies. It kind of just like kind of reminded me of those, um, but with a leader. And so like it just wasn't again. It just felt lazy half the time, and there's like no real, like I said, no urgency, no anything to make the film stick. The just like there's a lot of film issues and dialogue, the ADR, the effects I can give or take, even though they weren't the best. I mean the CGI effects for the gunshot and the grenade explosions,
And the
um,
head ran over.
and the head run over. And again, we have that exact same scene from Blood and Honey where there's a bear driving a car.
That's I swear. As soon as I saw them hit the guy with the car, I was like, "Oh shit, not another fucking car scene."
Yeah, everything has to have that now. But the big issue here's another one, and I mentioned this earlier: the fucking telephone. I found the telephone. I found the landline. I'll say that landline, but it doesn't work.
Yeah, and she's holding
And
it
then
without a cord.
the rest of the movie, yeah, without a cord. I might add. And then the rest of the movie, they're picking up this phone on the mantle without a wire, and it's ringing. And like, am I crazy? Like, don't they know how phones work? Like, what year are we in? You know, is this fucking 1712? You know, like phones. Phones have to be
Right?
connected to
No,
a
I
landline.
was
There's a reason it's
confused
called
about
a
that too.
landline.
I was like,
And like,
I
at
literally
part of me, I
saw
was,
that. Oh, go on.
no, go ahead, man.
No, I was gonna say, when as soon as she's like, "Oh, I found a phone, but it doesn't work," I was like, "Plug it in." I literally, you're if you look at the movie close enough, you'll see there's cords everywhere in this house. Like they're like stapled to the wall and they're painted the color of the wall, but you can see them running along the house. I was like, just plug them in. I was like, you could look, I clearly see the cords right there. Like, plug it in. It works. And then when
Yeah.
they started ringing, I was like, oh, so now it works, but it didn't work before. Like, okay, whatever.
Like, they should have done something like a cordless, you know, instead of one of the old '90s pickup phones with the wire on it.
Yeah.
It was and it's ringing and like, oh, it worked, and then I guess it's not working, and then it rings again. I was like, the phone issue was just like a big thing. Like, you're shitting me, right? It just always a little thing that just kind of irks, grinds your gears, and that telephone was it for me in this one. I mean, there's a lot of other problems as well, but I digress. But yeah, this one it wasn't very good. There's really, I mean, just for if you want to watch it just for namesake, I mean, you're not going to get much out of it at all. There's not that much in the terms of like gore or like interesting scenes. I mean, there's a baby bear drinking a can of something through her mask somehow, and that, or she bit open the can with her mask or something, because at the end of it she has um, the sharp edges on the can, and that happens with the eyeball scene. So I guess her mask is her teeth are real on the mask or something. I don't know. Implied. I have no idea. It doesn't make any sense really. One of those just because moments.
Yeah.
Like the phone, just because. But yeah, there's not really much there. I mean, there's some okay. I mean, the slasher moments aren't that good. I mean, I wish they kind of went a little bit more with Goldilocks and the bear antics. Again, I kind of liked them, and like her again dancing and ballet and pirouetting, and it was that maniacal aspect of it where they're just crazy. But they really didn't do much to sort of warrant that. They were just crazy, and they could have done a lot more with their character arc or antics, or each one could have been at least shown a little bit of character, besides just, oh, I'm gonna come up and throw an axe over my head and chase you around, and mom is just like stirring a pot, and then baby bear is just throwing grenades and doing kid dances. It's just like they didn't really give them much character for their specific bear.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, again, the characters are just ass, like they're just not good. And here's the thing: one of the characters just disappears. I guess it's implied that they took her, but she's like this main, honestly, like the main character. Besides, I think before Nicole, I think it's Nicole. Like her, because it's Kelly's birthday, and Nicole comes, and she's the one that like set all this up, and like she's the one talking to everybody. Like, she's the main character. The last you see of her is her in bed hearing noises saying, "Oh, it's 4 a.m." That's it. No more. You would think maybe that's her getting attacked outside. Like, oh my God, who do they have underneath the mask? You know, the bag. Then they take it off, and it's some random redhead. They're like, that's not her. Like, why isn't that her? You know, you would think maybe they can't find her. We looked everywhere. She's not here. The car's gone. And you think, oh, this is her. This is Nicole. It's sitting in the chair outside, about to get killed. No, it's not. Who's this random character that we have no involvement with that you want us to care about all of a sudden? You know, it doesn't make, like, what happened? You know, it's like, why's her character gone? Did you finally, like, you know what? I've had enough. I'm just walking out, and they had to work around it. You never know. But yeah, it's just like,
yeah, no, this was I felt like this was one of the laziest ones we watched. And I felt like, I was like, man, how is this movie underperforming most of the other ones? I was like, I'd rather be watching Popeye right now.
yeah,
Like, shit. At least Popeye was semi fun in, like, just the Popeye way. But no, like, I mean, you know, I felt like they could have done more with the three bears. They just did nothing. Only one of them really did anything. And the other one, like, just stirred a pot while I was just like, okay, there's nothing interesting about the Goldilocks and the three bears. I thought I would I thought they were kind of cool and, like, looking. I was like, okay, I like their mask. I get they're psychotic. I get it's kind of like the strangers. Like, that's what the vibe they were trying to go for.
yeah.
They failed miserably. Um, and I was like, okay, I see it. I see what you're trying to do, but, like, I don't really understand where you're trying to go with this film. Like, other than just like, just go out there, act crazy. And I get Goldilocks being the ringleader. I get that. But there's, like, nothing about this film that made me care about anything that was happening.
Yeah.
And
And
I
again,
was
like,
like,
it didn't feel like they cared either. That's the thing. It's just like,
yeah,
again, there's just like so many issues just blaring. You know, it's like the ADR, the dialogue, the missing characters, the some of the effects, and just like again, I'm all for, a downer ending, and, like, again, this isn't really downer, but still, I was like, I don't know, it just didn't feel like that's the ending that it needed. Not with, like, how it ended, with, like, it's just like, oh, I'm gonna go to the next house, and, like, oh, they're dead. Like, I just felt like it needed something stronger than that as an ending.
right.
It just, again, it just felt half-assed. I don't know. Like I said, I kind of would have liked to see it do the three blind mice aspect that I mentioned earlier, with, like, Goldilocks being the gatekeeper, caregiver of the bears, and, like, they're, again, like, mutated, genetically modified creature people,
Yeah.
like three blind mice, and she's the one that has to take care of them, but she's, like, crazy and she turns them into killers. Sort of like Perkins 14 was sort of similar to that, where, like, the doctor had the kids that was, like, missing and, like, had them in cages. I mean, it's a zombie film. It's, like, very similar to that. Of course, like, again, three blind mice, but at least we don't have to worry about fucking shooting arrows and they're
Right.
blind as fuck. Ugh. I mean, it's not as bad as three blind mice, but it's just like, ugh.
Yeah. No, like, no, there definitely needed to be something of substance. Like, I wish we could have gotten into all of their personalities. We got to see, like, you know, uh, like, maybe, like, I don't know, Papa Bear being too harsh, you know,
They needed to
and
like
Mama
have
Bear
like
being
a
too
character.
soft.
Yeah, they needed to do like the characters like coming across them instead of just like having them stand outside. Like they're going through the woods to walk, or you see the wood and like Papa Bear's chopping wood, and like the guy's like freaking out and he doesn't know if he's high, because he takes the pills or anything like that, or like the one's poisoned and stuff, and he's like seeing things. Like they needed to come along and like make him think like, is this real, or am I, is this happening, or am I seeing things? And they don't do that. It's just like very just like calm and chill, like, oh, look at that, there's someone tied to a chair, I don't know what to do, but I better change my clothes first. And just
Yeah.
very just like calm, like, I don't know, just like, and some of the dialogue was very stiff and wooden. It felt like a table read for the one chick that goes missing, Nicole. Just like her dialogue was very stiff for
Yeah.
most of the film. I mean, besides the ADR, of course, but like you said, there needed to be some character. Like one comes down into the kitchen, they see like Mama Bear cooking, like, or stirring the pot, later on. But they need to do something earlier to give some semblance of character development for the bears, but they just don't. They're all just a pack of people coming in and out of the forest, and like it's their house. Like, why are they? Again, they're playing games, but still, it just, there needed to be more to it, and it just
Right.
it lacked a lot.
A whole lot. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't really know if there's anything else to go on to about, because
Yeah, I mean, we pretty much
nothing
went through the
happened.
film. There's honestly not a lot. I mean, what we told you is it's pretty
The whole
slim.
movie.
It's the
Yeah.
whole movie basically. It's slim pickings, and there's not a lot to go back and forth on. It just, we pretty much nailed it on the head there. And again, it's one of those for namesake alone film watches. I mean, there's a reason they marked it down for $1 on Amazon. I mean, it was $5, and then
Yeah.
no, we better not. People are gonna like kill us
And you
in the
can buy it for
review.
$2.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a reason it's $1.
Yeah.
I mean,
2-star review.
it's gonna be a Tubi original here soon, so just hold off. Watch it for free, because there's no reason. There's no reason to spend $1 on it any more than we have to. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just hold off on it. There's not, you're not missing out. I mean, there's far better home invasion attack movies. Again, it could have been so much more. I mean, for what it's trying to be, I'm not saying it's going to be the best. I'm just saying there needed to be more, instead of just watching a guy pope around the woods for like 10 minutes for no reason. Just like, oh, what's that noise? Oh, is the Wi-Fi? Why is there 4 dishes, Ian? Why is there little bear figurines? It's like it's constant. Man, don't you think it's
There's 4
crazy?
cups.
Look at these cups, man. Why is there 4 dishes? Like, why is there 4 bowls? Like, obviously, there's 4 people who live there. Like, it's not that hard to put 2 and 2 together.
That's all when I got my apartment, that's all we had was 4 plates, 4 bowls, 4 mugs.
It's a person. People that don't really need that many necessities. That's very simple. Like 4 bowls, 4 plates, 4 cups. I mean, it's all they needed. But we're gonna nitpick it, and I don't think we need to do that.
4 psychos. Their house was very clean.
Yeah,
it was a really nice house.
Yeah,
I was like, oh damn, I'd live here.
Nice little cottage. But I think that's gonna do it. I don't think there's really that much more we need to delve into, because we've already done that.
Right.
So as always, I thank everyone for listening. And Ian, you take care of yourself, buddy. And
you too,
we will be back on another episode of Horror Night Oasis.
All right. Good night.